Canada has stunned Washington by announcing a $60 billion submarine replacement program without American suppliers. Instead, Ottawa is turning to shipyards in Germany and South Korea, breaking a decades-long tradition of buying American for major defense projects. This isn't just about submarines. It's a signal that Canada is willing to rethink its closest alliance. For years, the US and Canada have shared defense responsibilities, from NORAD to joint military exercises, with American contractors as the default choice. The expectation was that this massive contract would go to the US, but it didn't. This move is about more than money. It's about influence, jobs, and the long-term strategic relationship between the two countries. For the US, losing this deal is a geopolitical setback, suggesting even its closest allies are open to new partnerships. Is this a one-off, or the start of a trend where US allies chart their own course? The implications could reshape alliances, defense industries, and the balance of power in North America and beyond. Ottawa's decision marks a watershed moment that could challenge the status quo for years to come. To understand the shock of Canada's submarine decision, you need to know the history. The US-Canada Defense Partnership was forged in World War II and solidified with NORAD in 1958, a unique joint command that's the envy of the world. For decades, Canada bought American fighter jets, armored vehicles, and more, ensuring seamless cooperation and interoperability. The CF-18 Hornet and the F-35 Lightning II are just two examples of Canada choosing US technology for its military. That's why the submarine announcement is so dramatic. It breaks a pattern that's lasted generations. Submarines are strategic assets, and choosing German and South Korean designs over American options is a deliberate shift. Interoperability is no longer the only factor. Cost, industrial benefits, and specific capabilities now drive Canadian decisions. The old rhythm of Buy American is fading. Canada is signaling it's ready to prioritize its own needs, even if it means breaking with tradition. This is a new era for North American defense. The world is watching. Canada's vast coastline and aging Victoria-class submarines make replacement urgent, especially as the Arctic's strategic value grows. The new fleet will be conventionally powered, not nuclear, a crucial distinction. Canada's policy against nuclear-powered military assets is both political and practical. Diesel-electric submarines are quieter and better suited for Canada's coastal and Arctic missions, with lower operational costs. Here's the catch. American shipyards haven't built non-nuclear submarines in over 60 years. The U.S. Navy's nuclear-only focus left American contractors out of the running from the start. That opened the door for Germany's Type 212CD and South Korea's KSS-3, leaders in modern conventional submarine technology. These designs offer air-independent propulsion and can be tailored for under-ice Arctic operations. For Canada, this wasn't about snubbing the US. It was about getting the right tool for the job. The choice is pro-Canadian, not anti-American. It's a technical decision with major strategic consequences, and it's changing the rules of defense procurement. Washington's reaction? Disappointment and a sense of lost opportunity. While the US couldn't meet Canada's technical needs, there was hope for a political workaround or joint venture. The loss isn't just the $60 billion price tag. It's decades of maintenance, upgrades, and thousands of American jobs. More than economics, it's about influence. US allies buying American hardware has long reinforced American leadership. Canada's decision signals that even the closest partners are willing to look elsewhere. The contrast with the AUKUS Pact, where the US is sharing nuclear submarine tech with Australia, raises questions about priorities and trust. The global defense market is more competitive than ever. Allies now demand tailored solutions, technology transfers, and industrial benefits, not just off-the-shelf products. The era of automatic American defense deals is over. Washington must adapt to a world where even its best friends are sophisticated, demanding customers. The message is clear. U.S. defense dominance can no longer be taken for granted. The game has changed. The submarine deal is dramatic, but it's not the only sign of Canada's new approach. Ottawa recently considered a homegrown bombardier jet to replace its maritime patrol aircraft, challenging the expected American P-8 Poseidon. Even though the P-8 won, the serious consideration of a Canadian alternative showed a willingness to break with tradition. Canada also chose Airbus for its search and rescue planes, further diversifying its suppliers. These decisions reveal a pattern. Canada is methodically seeking the best fit, not just the default American option. The submarine deal is the culmination, a strategic, technical, and industrial choice. Canada is now a more demanding, independent player on the world defense stage. Canada's move sends shockwaves through NATO, not just Washington. For years, the U.S. urged allies to boost defense spending, assuming much of that money would flow back to American industry. Now, Canada is investing billions, but the contracts are going to Germany and South Korea. This sets a precedent. Major military modernization doesn't have to mean buying American. European allies are watching and may follow suit, strengthening their own industries and reducing U.S. dominance. Projects like the Franco-German-Spanish Future Combat Air System could gain momentum from Canada's example. A more diverse supplier base could make NATO stronger and more self-reliant, but also less dependent on the U.S. The alliance could become more multipolar, with Europe as a true pillar. But it also means less direct American influence and a more competitive, fragmented defense market. Canada's submarine deal may be the first crack in the old order. For Canada, this is a calculated risk with big rewards and real dangers. German and South Korean submarines promise technology tailored to Canada's needs, plus industrial benefits and jobs at home. It's a bold assertion of sovereignty. Canada is not a client state, but an independent nation making its own choices. This is especially important in the Arctic, where Canada's interests sometimes diverge from the U.S. But there are risks angering Washington and losing the deep integration that comes with American equipment. The U.S. Navy's global logistics and operational experience are unmatched. Canada may face challenges in interoperability during joint missions. Still, Ottawa is betting that the benefits of a custom fleet outweigh the friction of going its own way. It's a delicate balancing act, one that could redefine Canada's place in the alliance. The stakes are high and the world is watching. Canada's move raises a big question: what if others follow? If more allies prioritize domestic industry or non-American partners, the US-dominated arms market could fragment. This could spur innovation, lower costs, and give middle powers more leverage. But it also risks complicating alliance operations. Different gear means harder logistics and less interoperability. NATO's strength has been standardization. Fragmentation could weaken collective power. We may be seeing the start of a shift from a US-led alliance to a more multipolar defense world. Canada's $60 billion submarine deal could be remembered as the moment the tectonic plates of the Western alliance began to shift. The future is more complex and less predictable than ever.